Hello everyone, you join us here in the heavily updated 2026 Subaru Solterra XT Touring. Long name, but XT just signifies we have the highest power you can get, around 338 horsepower. And if you have not watched my full tour and review on this vehicle, we go in depth on all of the changes, and there are a lot that have been made to this vehicle for the 2026 model year, from design to the battery to the motors to enhancing a lot of the sound deadening material throughout the structure, to new structural components, to an all-new interior. There's a lot going on with this 2026 Solterra. But in this video, we're going to take it on the drive and see how it handles out on the road, as we have this new giant infotainment screen over here, and we have some new things to kind of play around with. Off the bat, we have, of course, dual motor all-wheel drive, reverse. We have cameras that pop up in all scenarios here. We can even change the color of that vehicle in there, and when we go into drive, we actually get some interesting camera situations going on up front here. I believe there's one where we can actually have the vehicle be sideways, and it paints a picture of the vehicle underneath you, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, you can actually have this camera to turn on every single time you come to a stop, which I actually find kind of annoying sometimes, but you do have that as an option. Radiant heating underneath the steering wheel and over there for the passenger. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different stages of regenerative braking, but none of them are full one-pedal driving, which is a little frustrating for a 2026 EV. We do have auto brake hold though, which is nice, and the proactive safety assist, which if I can find, is kind of acts as a little bit of a regenerative system in some cases, though it also is a lot more safety-esque focused as well. So it's doing both. You can adjust the sensitivity of that in there, because if it's too sensitive, it beeps at you for absolutely everything on the planet, which is one of the things this vehicle does a lot, even in reverse. It beeps at you, but nonetheless, pop it into drive and let's see what we got going on here. We have a few drive modes. We have eco, no drive mode, or I guess this is just normal, and power mode. This car is actually pretty quick now with the 338 horsepower. It likes to spin those front tires quite a lot actually, which is kind of crazy. But this new upgraded power we have here means 0 to 60 happens now in like 4.9 seconds, as Subaru claims. And on top of the fact, it just feels way more powerful just in general in all scenarios, which is really nice. You actually feel like you're being shoved kind of a little bit in your seat now with this 2026 Solterra, which I actually really like. I cannot complain about that too much at all. Coming to a stop here, as I mentioned, we have auto brake hold. It's not a gas engine, so we don't have to worry about the engine turning on or off. I just, again, wish there was some sort of a one-pedal driving function for those who do like that. Steering has been revised, as well as the suspension, so it's a little bit quieter, softer on the road. The ride actually reminds me a little bit more so now of the Forester. It's really comfortable, isolated from a lot of road imperfections as well, which is really nice. The steering is still pretty vague. It has a pretty good turning radius, I would say, though the steering feel is just, non-existent, pretty vague in general, even though they've made some changes to the front suspension components and steering to help you kind of have a little bit more connection with the vehicle than previous. Even though this thing is really all-wheel drive at all times, you just mash it into a corner and it just goes all down on those front tires sometimes, which is kind of crazy. But handling has also been improved. You can see some cross traffic warning as well for us. Lots of nice thrust in this Solterra now. Finally, the regen paddles are a little bit on the louder side to use, but they do a decent job at slowing down the vehicle if you want to kind of either just leave them in a few different settings or adjust it yourself on the fly. You have that ability to do so. The proactive assist, as you can see right here, is actually bringing us to a little bit of some regen automatically, since it realizes this vehicle in front of us is coming to a little bit of a stop. It won't bring you to a full stop, but it will start to slow you down a little bit, even at some stop signs as well. Merging onto a highway, zero issue in this newer Solterra. You have so much more power and thrust than you ever really had before, which is nice in this vehicle. It's really quite welcome. And you're going to notice immediately now on the highway, it's a lot quieter than it was before. Now, yes, it is windy out today, I won't deny that, but it is much quieter out here, specifically on the underfloor portion of this vehicle. There was a lot of road noise coming in, I noticed before. That's pretty much almost, I would say, gone now in some cases. That's really, really isolated, which is a nice thing they did here. So that's been improved. We have acoustic glass all around us as well, so that's a lot quieter. I'll mess around with these regen paddles here. Overall, I have to say, this is a much more smoother, cohesive, more comfortable driving experience than it was before. I actually kind of like this, squircle wheel thing we got going on over here. It feels a little bit easier to hold, even though it doesn't dramatically improve our visibility of this front display up here. It's actually pretty nice to use on a day-to-day basis. It gets really hot as well with this heated steering wheel. Handling, it's pretty good, honestly. You have a low center of gravity. There is some body roll you're gonna feel there, but these seats actually hug you in pretty well. Just not a handling vehicle in any aspect, but all-wheel drive, all that traction, it is actually quite nice on some corners. It feels very well planted for what it is. It's just, an everyday mainstream EV. Definitely feels a little more solid and planted than a Forester, for example, but it's not too far off from that type of similar area of performance. Even in eco mode here, we have a nice amount of shove in the acceleration. Now, I did notice yesterday we dipped below, well below 50% state of charge. We are actually dipped into the 30 and 20s. We noticed a little bit of some power reduction, actually. So we had these little lines appear on our screen up there, and it looked like and felt like that the power was reduced a little bit in the lower state of charge in this battery pack. Now, this is not a big battery pack, actually, especially for a modern EV of this size. It's only around 74-ish kilowatt hours in that aspect. So once you start going lower on that battery pack, it is going to seem to be limiting power, as you're not going to have as much battery just there in general, which is interesting. So if you feel like you need to have that power available at all times to you, you may want to keep this thing above a certain charge percentage. Going over some of these rougher pavement pieces on the highway, really well isolated, I would say. We're getting some noise from the upper portion over here, but I believe if you close that upper shade on our panoramic glass roof, it's going to be even more insulated in this vehicle. Overall, I think I really like how this thing drives, actually. It's quite stable, very confidence inspiring, I would say. And on the highway out here, we have so much great adaptive cruise control style systems. So that's easy to access on the right-hand side of our steering wheel over here. All we got to do is press this button once we merge into traffic here. And it says adaptive cruise is ready. You set your speed and you're good to go. Now, again, we don't really have a heads-up display, which you don't need really, because we have this digital cluster in front of us up here. Though it is a little bit confusing sometimes to see the information because it's so tiny and really kind of compacted into that screen. And if you don't have your steering wheel in the right position, it may be blocked entirely. So if I scrouch down just a little bit, that whole lower portion of the dash becomes invisible to me. And we have a few different levels of distance adjustment here. I believe like 1, 2, 3, 4 different distance levels of adjustment. We also can turn on and off our lane keep and steering assist here. This is a always hands-on style system, I believe, in this vehicle. That's what I've experienced this week at least. So it does a pretty good job at holding the lane and keeping it kind of centered around corners. There's a few different adjustments we can make to how it tackles speed in corners and how it adjusts for different situations on the highway in this setting. So it's pretty configurable, actually. But overall, I think it does a pretty good job. You have this driver attention monitor up here, which should have infrared lights showing up on camera. I can't see them in person, which is great. And you can actually disable that. So if it's beeping at you all the time, you can turn that off, because it does beep at you all the time. Sometimes if you hold your hand like this or something, or like this, kind of blocks it, it'll start beeping at you. But that's good to have if you want to have the attention awareness on there as well. Otherwise, this is a pretty smooth adaptive cruise control system. Nothing really too crazy or advanced, though. It doesn't believe we have any sort of lane change assist, though it does deactivate the lane keep, so you can merge out of the lanes a lot smoother. Coming off an exit ramp here, again, we'll just throw on to our regen braking here. You kind of play with these different regen levels, even though it does have this almost natural regenerative braking, it just kind of does. But coming to a stop is also pretty smooth as well in this Subaru Solterra. But overall, I do vividly remember my first time driving a Solterra, the pre-facelifted one, and This is notably quieter on the interior. It's notably softer with the suspension, even with these 20-inch wheels, which is a really nice thing to see. The steering feels more fluid. We have that front cross traffic alert right there. The steering feels more fluid, more natural, I would say, in an aspect. It felt a little bit video gamey in some scenarios before. Overall, this is definitely an enhanced package than this pre-facelift Solterra. And with the upgraded range, the upgraded charging curve, charging times, improved cold weather charging performance, I think this is definitely more of a leaning on like a, you can actually recommend this vehicle, I would say, versus before. It's much more caught up with the times than it was before. But still, even with all these upgrades and changes, it is lagging just a little bit behind than some of the competition. We have vehicles out here such as the Kia EV6 or Hyundai Ioniq 5, which are offering higher voltage architectures with much quicker charging speeds, a little bit more premium feeling cabins as well, and a little bit better use of their electric vehicle architectures with like front trunks and some things. So while I would say this 26 Solterra is galactically improved, it's still not the best, I would say best in class, but it is definitely more of a buy, I would say, than it was before. I would definitely want to consider one more now than I did previously. So hats off to Subaru for actually listening to their customers, to owners of Solterra, and making all of these modifications for this update. It is really improved. I would go test drive one if you are considering one now. Let that decision be up to you. But as always, guys, thank you for joining us on yet another full tour and review and drive of this 2026 Subaru Solterra over at Allcarnews. And as always, stay tuned for more coming soon. Cheers.